Ladies and gents, I have an interesting one for you today. Hopefully. Hopefully you'll find it interesting. We're going to be doing a normal session today. To be specific, arms, the arm anatomy, that's what I want to look at today. But I've decided to do it in a different software. Hopefully one that is going to be available to all of you. Because it's a free software that everyone can use. And I'm going to show you it here today. Let's head into straight away. References are in the description below, the Pinterest link to be specific. Go ahead and grab that, and whatever you have available to you, even if it's a smartphone with a graphics tablet, like that's a strange combination, but some people do it. Join me for this. Hopefully you'll enjoy it yourself. We're just going to draw some arm anatomy, go through it, and learn during the process, hopefully. So let's go over to my desktop. As you can see, it's a bit weird. I've recently installed Linux. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to talk about it much more in the video. But the software I want to be using today is called Krita. I believe that's how you say it. This is a free open source software that you can use at your disposal. And it is, I've got to say, I haven't used it properly yet. But I mean, this is pretty similar to Photoshop. If you ask me, this is very similar to Photoshop. I mean, it runs really well. Out of the box on Linux, the graphics tablet just worked. No drivers installed, nothing. There's just settings for it. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but if we go over here, click on graphics tablet, this is all I had. This is the settings, and I turned it on and it works. So I didn't expect something like that on Linux, but we've got it. So anyway, let's get into the actual drawing. We have a lovely reference here from Pinterest, which, oh, okay. Bear with me. I am going to learn not to use Mac commands. We have our beautiful arm reference here, the muscle structure and everything. I got this off Pinterest. It's going to be in the description, like I mentioned earlier. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with the usual. And I'm just going to describe my process and how I go about it. And I'm going to start off by drawing some of the bigger shapes here, just lightly. I don't want to be putting in too much that I may not know yet, because we're just analyzing what we see so far. I'm going to make sure that this is obviously to size as well. Don't want to be... I'll try and make it the same size here, just so it's a guideline for myself, because I always end up running out of space eventually, so let's make sure that doesn't happen today. And I'm not going to allow myself the use of Ctrl-Z for personal reasons. There's no reasons I shouldn't be using it, but just for personal reasons, I want to set myself up here so I don't have to zoom in or move about much. I just want to be in the process, and I want to be here with you, just in case you're at home using a pen or a pencil or something like that. I just want to make sure we try and get an even ground here. I know I'm using digital software, which not everyone has available to them, and I completely understand that. But this is just a very comfortable way for me to record this stuff, and if I can get content out for you guys earlier, I think that makes it justifiable. So I'm going to go ahead, and like I said, I'm going to see if I can try and use less guides here today, because that's just how I'm feeling. Sometimes I feel like using a lot of guides, sometimes I feel like just kind of freehanding it and seeing where it goes, not allowing myself to erase this, putting on a little bit of extra pressure, which, you know, I definitely don't need, because I'm already recording and talking and drawing, and I'm focusing on like 15 things at once. So definitely added pressure is not going to be the best thing, but we're professionals here and we're trying to make some good artwork. That's the thought process, at least. And I'm going to try and come in here and put the names as well, just so we kind of know what we're drawing here. And proportionally I can already tell I'm making a bit of a mistake here, so I'm gonna adjust. I'm not gonna erase, but I'm gonna adjust just so I can see my mistake and see that I'm doing something wrong, because obviously if I do this too much it might end up making this a little bit illegible. But here we are drawing the biceps. From what I can see, there's two versions of the there's two muscles of the bicep here. And this is one whole muscle, so I'm going to try and highlight that just so we can kind of see it, because it might get a little messy without me having a thing to erase here. I don't know what really made me install Linux. I kind of just wanted to try it, and I've been really liking it so far. So if you're someone who's building a PC and it's just a little bit too expensive to get a Windows license, then I don't see why you shouldn't go for a Linux based system. It's been treating me well so far, despite all the issues that I had to get through. But it was a good learning experience. So I'm here trying to get the rough shape going, because I can already see it not going too well. I don't like the shape that I've built here of the arm. I don't know why I set myself the challenge of not using an eraser here. I'm just adding a lot more difficulty to this whole thing. But I'm always going to talk about this because I think it's important to challenge yourself. It's important to make something a little bit harder for yourself, just so you're stimulating your brain a little bit. It's a muscle that needs to be working a lot. It needs to be learning, and the more we kind of use it, the more it grows. Obviously, just like a muscle, just like any muscle, really. Kind of want to engage your brain from time to time in a good way, not like a wasted way. For example, just sitting there and watching TikToks all day or Instagram. And you know what, I get stuck in that loop as well. And this is I want you guys to always remember that this channel is just almost like a message to the younger me most times, or even current me, to just get off that stuff, do something productive, do something useful, take a day to learn some drawing. I even saw a PewDiePie stream today. I saw that he was streaming and he was drawing again because he had a sinus infection. I hope you are used to my voice breaks by now. My throat gets really dry when I have to talk for so long, and then voice cracks appear. But as you can see, we're still going with the kind of freehand style here. I'm still just drawing what I see, definitely making it a lot harder, as I'm not yet fully confident in doing this sort of style. But you know what, like I said, you got to push yourself, you got to challenge yourself from time to time. And may I say, let's talk about Krita a little bit. Obviously this video is not sponsored or anything. This is a free software that literally any of you can use. It's pretty good. I mean, the brush engine's really nice. I like the look of this pencil that we're getting here. It's definitely a lot nicer than I expected it to be. I do remember trying this software when I was younger, but I just had this weird elitist mindset that, you know, hey, I don't have Photoshop, but I need it. I need Photoshop to get work done. And I need all this software to do this stuff. And I always use that as an excuse. In reality, there's so much cool stuff available for free that works. Like, I know the industry standard is Photoshop. It's always Adobe, but let's be honest, that company is trying to get away with more and more with everything they do, and you know, we will constantly keep giving them money and they'll keep doing it. So I mean, it's a necessary evil kind of thing, because we need that software to do what we need to do, but you know, it's disappointing to see brands like that. And then you've got things like this. You've got a little team making Krita. I'm not sure who's made this. This may be made by one person, because things like this sometimes are. So I'm not fully sure how many people worked on this project, but you've got this little team or whoever making this, and it's a full-fledged software. Like, you could make professional artwork with this. No, there's no doubt about it. This can be used professionally. I'm using it right now the same way that I've been using Photoshop in every single past video. There's no difference here. Like, I'm showing you what I'm doing here. We're exploring the same thing, we're learning the same thing. There's no difference, and it's free. You know, I'm sure there'll be some issues that I'll run into at some point, because you always do with these things, but whether they'll be catastrophic, I doubt it. They might be annoying from time to time, but everything is. You know, there's things in Photoshop that I find very annoying. I hate the constant push for AI on there. It's just always everything AI now. It's just, this is a good option, and we'll use it, and we'll see how it goes. So, back to the drawing. Talk about this. I don't like the way I've done the arm here. I'll see if I can adjust it without erasing it, obviously. But other than that, we've got... Oh no, that's the wrong button. We've got our structure here. It's looking okay. I'm gonna add a thing here. A layer, so I can start kind of writing up what these things are, just so we've got a little bit of information. And I want to do the main stuff. So we've got a deltoid here. Then over here, we go over to the biceps. So we want the main ones. I want the main muscles here as much as I can. Then we've got the triceps muscles here, which I haven't made very clear, so I'll try and adjust that. How long will we going for? 13 minutes. Not bad, not bad. We've got some time. I want to keep these videos to about 20 minutes or so. So I want to keep it within that, but because of that, we can go in here and adjust some stuff. This is the trapezius, so this is a muscle we've already covered in the previous Back to Basics episode. You might remember. Trapezius, there we go. And I hope your drawing is going well as well. Hope you're looking back at this a lot, because we need to be checking back the reference. You know, there's been moments here where I kind of left it and bad things happened. So you need to make sure that you keep looking back at that reference and adjusting accordingly. Alright, let me focus here, because pectoralis. We've got the pectoral. So we're kind of labeling stuff just so we know more or less, because I'm not a big fan of learning all the actual the technical names for all of this, but I guess you have to at some point. What is this? What are these names? So what I'm actually going to do, what I think is going to be a little bit more helpful, is if I make another layer here, go with like a blue color, and let's try and adjust these muscles so that we've got actual physical visible blocks here, so we can understand it more. So here we have the biceps. Actually, maybe it'll be better if I used like a paintbrush. Yeah, there we go. So just to highlight it here, I'll be painting over the... Actually, yeah, this is a good opportunity to change the layer mode. See, oh, look at that. Works very well. No, not multiply. God, normal. Overlay it. Yeah, let's do an overlay. We'll get like this neon color here, just so we can start highlighting everything we need. So there's the muscle that we need. That's the biceps. Let's go with a green color for the triceps. So we've got two almost muscles here, which I want to highlight correctly. This, and I'll do a darker green. Actually, as an overlay, it probably won't show, so I'll do this. And this muscle really takes up a lot of space here. I reckon that this will be another episode 100% again, because I need to kind of go back into this with a little bit more understanding. But I think it's a good little warm-up here. I also wanted to use this as an excuse to show you guys that there is options out here for different software. Like, you don't need to be using Photoshop straight away. I'm also going to do this orange, by the way. I wanted this episode to kind of show off this free software as well. So I do apologize if there was less focus on the actual learning of this arm structure that we have here, but I do intend to still pull through here. So we've got another muscle that I can kind of draw in here. This is what we're looking at here. Is there even anything highlighting this muscle? Oh, there it is. This is it. Oh, look at that. I can highlight. That's cool. That's cool. I should have used that. This is the brachial intermuscular septum. So that is a large muscle which kind of makes up the forearm here. And it does a wrapping motion from what I can see. Kind of wraps around. So it's almost doing like this gesture. Like, imagine if this was a ribbon and it was kind of waving in between. Let's say you have a pole here, so this ribbon was going here, above it, and then under it, like that. So that is kind of what I can see happening here with this arm, or this muscle, the brachial intermuscular septum. That's what it's called. And then we also have, right next to it is the brachioradialis. Great technical name. And let's do that again. Look at that. This is proven quite useful, actually. This is actually quite a large muscle as well here, so I made it a little bit too small in the initial sketch layer. And that is kind of just nesting itself next to this little ribbon that we've drawn. So if you imagine it like that, I hope that's kind of making sense. Cool. And then we have a third one, which is the radius, which is kind of nested in between here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a blue that we had here before, and I'm going to highlight this muscle which we drew, and that's going to be the 𝐏𝐵 muscle, because it's kind of coming in here, wrapping around, and then going around here. Very important that it wraps around. And then I'm going to get another green, which this isn't going to be for the tricep, but I want to highlight this muscle right over here. Oh, for the next episode, it will be useful to color these in before I draw them. That might be a better way to understand this in the future, so that's good to know. This is the digitorium, and this kind of just spawns magically out of here and then twists around here. So it's like the reverse ribbon version of what we looked at a second ago. And again, this is all my understanding. Hopefully you're learning with me here, because this is more of a process of learning rather than me teaching anything here. But I do hope that you're kind of understanding this in a similar way that I am. So there we have that muscle, and then we have like this bridge muscle that I'm gonna call it a bridge. And this is a pollicis brevis. Man, these names are crazy. Let's do a red. The extensor. It sounds like a spell. And then fill this in here so we know that there's a muscle there. And then we have some tendon action going on here as well. But these are kind of the sections that we can break this up into. Actually, I'm going to make this red just so we can separate it from the deltoid. So red over here. Same with this. And hopefully that you guys can understand. I'll paint it in here. So we got the red one that I just drew in here. Then we've got the blue one, which is the bicep. Right over here. Then let's go over to the triceps, which are located behind here. There's like a little strip of it down there. Then there's the other tricep area, which I've done in a blue here. Just so I can differentiate it from the almost like the inner tricep area. On here it is labeled as the lat head and then the long head on the other side. So this is the whole muscle that I kind of try to paint in here. As you can see, that's the whole muscle going from here to here. Then we go over to the pink muscle, which was the, what was it called again? The collection of the branchioradialis muscle. I'm gonna have to watch a tutorial on how to say the names of these, but I do realize that on my drawing I've made this muscle definitely a little bit too large, and the ribbon action is a little bit less prominent, as I was saying there in the beginning. But then this one's going to be orange. It kind of already is orange. And then the next one, I made it green. No, I made both of these orange. Also, something's having a go at my throat. Like it's actually in pain at the moment. Hence the voice cracks. To be decided whether I edit those out or not. It would be good to, because it's embarrassing. I hate having voice breaks. And then we have the extensor that we were talking about here, which kind of wraps around. And then finally we had our little bridge that we built. The other, oh god, okay, my bad. Alt on, holding Alt on Linux lets you move the window around, which is a great feature. On Mac OS, that button is, for me, on my little keyboard that I have here, this one, that is literally my command button. So that is why I keep making this mistake. Oh, did it again. So that hopefully kind of translates well enough for you to have a look at here with the colors. I'm thinking whether to put this... Actually, when we do a better version of this, I will put a like this sheet to download, available to download at some point. But at the moment, I think this turned out okay. We kind of got a bit more understanding of how we should be breaking up the arm muscle, how it works, more or less. Let's do another layer here. Actually, I don't think I'm going to write anything else, but we know that the sort of top part of the arm is almost broken up into three parts. Like we have the bicep here, I'm gonna do a B, we've got the tricep here, and then we've kind of got this middle bit which makes up the bicep as well on the side. It's almost like a bridge between the two. And then on the lower section we've got a mishmash of a bunch of different muscles interweaving, and one that almost just connects from the middle point here and wraps around. So it's kind of, I know it looks terrible, strange, like this whole explanation that I've done here, but hopefully that's kind of made it understandable for you. This is how I understand it looking at it, and this is kind of my process of going over it. So with that, we're going to wrap up the episode. I think this was a useful time for me to show you the software. Hopefully you give it a go. If you have a Windows computer, I believe it works. I think it even works on Mac OS. Let me search that for you real quick. So the beautiful thing about a lot of open source software is that it's available on literally everything. So whatever you have, you can actually download Krita. It's even on Steam. You can download this thing on Steam. So do check it out if you have any means of drawing digitally and you don't want to shell out, what is it now, 20 quid a month on Photoshop. I know there's other options which you can explore, but if you want to go free, Krita seems to be a really good thing. Like, I haven't had any issues with it at the moment. We'll try a more complex painting at some point, I'm sure, but it's been a fantastic software and it's been a blessing to use, to be honest. It was perfectly fine. So with that, I hope you learned something in this video. Hope you got something out of it. Maybe software, maybe how to draw an arm. But I hope you had a wonderful day. I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here and doing this process with me. So I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you draw some wonderful arms when I'm gone. So, take care.